Hello, this is Victor, and I wanted to do this video because some days ago I was reading in a forum that someone was complaining that if you paint the Marines in a color, in a appropriate color, for example, you paint as Ultramarines, and then you use the rules of White Scars, he was thinking that you are proxying, so you are doing your army is a proxy. So the question comes. Depending on how you paint your miniatures, if you play with another chapter rules, are you proxying? Is this a proxy? And I wanted to make this broad, so I want to make this question to everybody. What is a proxy? What is acceptable? What is not acceptable for you? When you consider something is a proxy and something is not a proxy, when is a conversion is becoming a proxy. And I'm going to give you first some examples. I will take the camera and I will show you some examples that I want to talk about, and then from there we can start the discussion. And the first that I want to talk, here you see in my cabinet I have my Space Marine chapter. Okay, this is paint using miniatures from the standard Marines. As you can see here, these are the company masters. I have even here one very old chaplain from the, how it's called this, I forgot the name. The ones that are, the Salamanders, now it comes to me the name. Okay, this is a very old chapter from the Salamanders. And of course I have bikes, sorry for the reflection, but you can see I have bikes. I have here Samael from the Dark Angels army. I have here Belial, and I have a mixture of Marines, and this was done in purpose because I want to play with both codexes. I want to be able to have the flexibility to play with the Dark Angels or the Space Marines codex, and I don't do this for competitiveness, and I don't do this to be very competitive. I just do that because I like to have this option open. So then the question comes, if I play like a standard Marine, okay, I'm using these bikes that are painted like my chapter. Is this a proxy? Because they are from the Dark Angels, and I only can use these bikes when I'm playing Dark Angels Space Marines, as I'm converting all my bikes, as you can see here, with the iconography of the Dark Angels. So this is a question that comes to my mind. Even in some cases I like to have mixture, because I have this guy that is from the Death Company. Okay, so I have here a lot of mixtures and a lot of different things. I have this is my these have bits from the Black Templars. So is this a conversion or is this a proxy? And here, well, I will say, for me these are conversions, and this is the way that you personalize your army to be able to play the chapter you want. And I don't think you have to be paint blue to use the rules of the Ultramarines, and I don't think you have to be paint green to have the rules of the Dark Angels. This is why I did my own chapter and give my freedom. More questions. This guy here, this is a Necromunda guy. I use this guy as one of my primary psychers for my Renegade army. Again, technically speaking, this is a proxy, but this is an acceptable proxy. Will cause confusion if I told you that this is a primary psyker. I don't think so. And you see here I have, these are from Morhaime, that I just adapt them to be my psychers. So I like to do conversions. So you can argue if this is a conversion or this is a proxy. And I go even further. Here in my Slaanesh army, I have miniatures from Reaper Miniatures. I use this as one of my heralds of Slaanesh. So here is the question for you. What is an acceptable proxy, and when this is acceptable and when is not acceptable? And I have almost examples in all my armies. So for example, here I have the White Dwarf. I use this as a Adeptus Tech Priest. Or here I use this is a mixture of bits, so this is a conversion then, because I use a mixture of bits to do my officer on my Imperial Guard. So this is a question for you to think about. When is a proxy? This lady here, this is from Reaper Miniatures, I paint her to be my Inquisitor. Okay, so as you can see, I have a lot of mixtures here. Even I have these guys from Necromunda that I want to use as my cult assassins. So, and I think they match perfectly the role of the cult assassins. So, here comes my question. What is for you acceptable and what is not? And now I will talk a little bit more. I think I give enough examples of what I was meaning. So I'm back into my channel. What I want to say, when I was starting in Warhammer 40k, and this was a lot of time ago, it was about 20 years ago, and the range of miniatures in Games Workshop was very limited, I was using a lot of proxies. First, because I didn't have the money to buy the armies that I wanted. Second, because most of the miniatures in there didn't exist at that moment. And when I started playing, there was not existing the codex for the Chaos in 40k. There was nothing. The only Chaos Space Marines that you were able to buy were a small box of War Eaters, Overseekers, and there were the metal Terminators. That was all what you were able to buy at that moment. So I was using a lot of proxies. I was using my imagination to do my conversions. I even used Beastman in my Chaos Space Marine army because it was allowed at the beginning when I was using the rules from the basic rulebook from the starting set. So when someone comes today and is proxying and is using proxy, for example, is telling me my Melta guns are going to be plasma guns because I want to test, I don't mind. To be fair, I don't mind. I remind me, when I started in that hobby, I was not able to afford all what I need. So I should be open and I should be helpful to people that is starting or want to test different things. Because not everybody, in my case, I put the limitation that I want to play with my painted miniatures. I don't want to use any unpainted miniatures in my games. So if you see any of my battles, I will always use painted miniatures from my armies. And the other rule I impose to myself is I will always use the weapons that the miniature is wearing. What I will not use is I will always use the equipment that my boss or my officer is wearing, because sometimes I will not have the points for them to pay the plasma pistol, and then I don't put the plasma pistol, or I want to experiment the equipment and I will not do that. I will not change my commander each time I want to change the equipment of my commander. And I think most of the people do that. So how you represent a refractor field, how you represent a conversion field, this is not easy to represent there, and you just say this I have. So for me what is important is, I don't care about the proxy if it's not exaggerated. And if it's not maybe in a tournament and it's not used in a bad way, it's not used to cause confusion. For example, I have seen examples of armies that the person arrives to the tournament and say, these miniatures here are, for example, flesh hounds and they are horses. These miniatures here, and there are goblins, are going to be my plague bears. These other miniatures here, first I will request him to have at least the same size. I think this is a common sense. Second, if it's very confusing, I will ask the person, write down a piece of paper and put next to the squad what is each thing, because I will not remember what each squad is if you completely mixing miniatures. And then if it's a tournament, I will be very careful, because I think in a tournament I think to be respectful with the other players, you should have at least the miniatures that represents that you are playing with. I will not go far in the weapons, or if there is a plasma pistol and you say it's a ball pistol, or the other way around. I will not be picky, but I think and exaggerating and having the full army in proxy is not acceptable. On the other hand, if the people want to use miniatures from other range of miniatures, if the people want to use imagination conversions, I don't mind if you paint like a Blood Angel and you're using the rules of the basic Space Marines. I don't mind these type of things. I think if you are not driving confusion, you should not complain about that. Each person can have the freedom to build up the army to be able to use 1, 2, 3 or 4 codexes if it's possible. If they don't cause confusion. If I can make my Marines to play any codex of the Space Marines that are there, why I cannot play that? Why I cannot use the rules of the Blood Angels if I buy some miniatures from the Blood Angels and then mix in my army? So it can be that my this is what I mean. So when and here is the question: where is a proxy? So painting the army in a different color is a proxy or not? Using a miniature from other army in your army. For example, I use a Great Knight and I use it as my company master in my normal Space Marines. Is this a proxy or is this a conversion? So where is the barrier? Because sometimes this barrier is very limited. It's very thin, and I think we should not stop the imagination of the people. We should not stop the conversion of the people. And in case it's driving confusion, just ask your opponent, please can you write down with a piece of paper next to the unit what's this unit about? Because nobody's tell you that you cannot write down on a piece of paper what is this unit about. And the last thing, when someone wants to test a new army, when someone wants to test new units, I will not mind if they want to proxy. I don't mind if they want to proxy to test this new army. And for me it's going to be a challenge as well, because I will test something different to play against. Most of the times, if you always play with your friends that have always the same units, and your friend suddenly wants to test a different codex, a different rules, a different unit, let's him to test it, and it's going to be also a challenge for you to play against a different type of unit. For me, the only rule is that try to use miniatures that are more or less at the same size, especially know that we are playing with the true line of sight. So just I want to open this discussion. Please comment below. What do you think? Did you face completely epoxy armies that are confusing you completely? How do you live with that? Are you using proxies? Not? Do you have your own rules when you are making your army? Are you using conversions? And when a conversion is becoming a proxy? So I hope you find this topic interesting. Let me know your opinion. Please like if you like it, subscribe if you not subscribe it, and see you again later. Bye!